I taught several stuff that were not, you know, so familiar to some of you guys. And over the weekend, I was thinking about it and said, why not repeat the class so my student can understand? Because the ultimate goal is for you guys to understand. I don't want to do something and just go over something and you're lost in the way. I don't like that. All right. So let's start using the PowerShell. Okay. So I want you to open your terminal or your prompt command line in your Windows computer, right? I want you to open your portal as well, right? So if you can do what I'm doing here, so you see my screen that is divided in two. So that's very useful. So you can see here, you can confirm the resources that you create in the CLI. So we type the command here and we confirm in the portal. So I'm going to give you 1 minute for you to set up your, your workspace so that we can start. Okay. So basically what we're going to do today, we're going to go over what we did on Friday. And also we're going to do more than that. We're going to create all the stuff. Okay. Also, we're going to automate a script that has a lot of commands, and then we're going to run the script, and the script is going to create everything for us at once. Okay. Because when you do it in the CLI, you do command by command, or you can have a bunch of commands in a line. Okay. But it's kind of messy. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a file, and inside the file, we're going to put a lot of commands, and then we're going to make that file executable, and then we're going to run it, and it will create everything for us automatically. So we're going to do some automation here. Okay.
How do you get the command screen? I'm sorry.
The command screen, you have a Windows computer or my computer? Do you have Windows computer or my computer? Byron, was that you?
He wrote Windows. He wrote Windows in chat.
Oh, yes. If I'm not mistaken, you have to go what it says here, and it's just type CMD, right? And then you're gonna get the command line. Is that correct, guys? Windows guys?
Yeah. Are we on PowerShell or command prompt though? Because I see the PS.
Yes, we're on PowerShell.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we downloaded, we installed the PowerShell and the Azure CLI previously.
Okay. Then yeah, for Windows, you just search PowerShell at the bottom left, and you're good.
Yeah, yeah. Byron, did you get some help from Chris?
Yeah, I got the C command. Yes.
Okay, got it. All right.
Now how do I split the screen though?
Yes. So you can divide the screen. You just have to, like two windows open, and then you can just adjust the size here and then put them side by side.
Okay, got it.
In my computer, super easy because we just you just hover over this green button here, and then it gives you title window to the left screen, and then you have another one, and then you put title window to the right of the screen, and then you divide the screen into two automatically. Okay, guys, so if someone posts a question on the chat and it's important, let me know, because I'm not aware of the chat right now. Okay, so let me know, guys. Can you see my screen? Can you see the command line, my command line?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. So right now I am PowerShell. Okay. So make sure that you're connected to your account. Okay. So what is the command that we use to connect to the account? Can someone remember?
AC
login.
I'm sorry, we are working with the PowerShell. So it will be like this.
AC something or no?
connect
Connect.
account, right?
You'll need to unlock.
Right? So we click on that, we just, and then it's gonna give you a URL and a code, right? So what you have to do is just copy that URL and then open a new tab. Okay, put this down here. Open a new tab, just paste it. You have a code here, and then I copy the code here. And then I hit next. I just log in with my email. And then I am logged in. So I get a message here that I am logged in. Okay. I have my account here, my subscription name, and then the tenant ID. And I'm connected. So whatever operation that I do now is gonna affect my account.
Professor, is it possible that there's another command that could be used, or because I did that and it said that the term connect-az account is not recognized as the name of a command of a CMD let function.
Okay.
They're most likely on command prompt and not PowerShell, to be honest.
I was
Yeah,
on
probably.
command prompt actually, but I closed the window and I'm in PowerShell. Like it says PowerShell 7 by 64.
Okay, Ciara, if we troubleshoot that now, we're gonna waste a lot of time. What you can
Okay,
do?
no problem. I'll just follow along on the screen.
No. You can go to your account in here in Azure and look for Cloud Shell. You see Cloud Shell here? Because I don't want you to get behind. If you click Cloud Shell, then you can work on PowerShell from your portal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I have to, you click here or create, and you have to wait until it loads. But then you can do everything that we do here, you can do it here in Cloud Shell. You see? It's loading now. So I can either choose PowerShell or I can choose Bash, okay? Which is basically the Azure CLI. Okay. So now it's connected. It's succeeded here. And it's connecting to the terminal. Okay, and there you go, PowerShell. So you clear the screen, and there you can do exactly the same.
So what's that command to get to PowerShell from CLI?
PowerShell is PWSH. PWSH, like this.
I gotcha.
Okay. So what it does is connects you to the PowerShell.
Okay, great. I'm there. Thank you.
Okay. So you there, Ciara? It's the Cloud Shell. The Cloud Shell.
I'm trying to find it in Azure. I'm not seeing it.
It's like a little square with a triangle in the middle. Okay, you see here my screen? It's this one here. Okay, you probably asked about that in exam. So remember this, okay? Because they want you to be familiar with the portal in the exam. Okay, guys, so the first thing we're gonna do today is create a resource group, okay? So as we know, we saw before that every time that you create the major services in Azure, you have to create a resource group to sort of organize your account. So let's say you have a bunch of services inside a resource group. If you want to delete all the services together, what you can do is delete the resource group, and that's it. Okay? Or maybe you want to have a resource group for accounting, or maybe for HR, something like that. So you could put all the things related to accounting inside the resource group for accounting, and everything related to HR inside the HR resource group. So that's the way that you organize things. So it's for many services, it's not an option. It's mandatory. So you have to create a resource group. So the syntax for commands in the PowerShell, in the Azure PowerShell, they always begin with a verb. So in this case, we are creating something new, right? So every time you create something, it's going to start with the word new, okay? So the next is dash, and then we have to just put the resource that we are creating. So we are creating a resource group, right? Sorry. So we create a resource group, okay? Now, we don't need to put any verb because it's already here implied that you are creating a new one, okay? So we're gonna give it a name. The options begin with capital letter. It's only one dash, unlike the Azure CLI that is two dashes, and there's no capital letter, okay? So that's something distinctive of the PowerShell, okay? So let's give it a name. Let's just give it MDC new resource group, right? And then let's give it a location. Location. Let me move this a little bit to the right so you can see better. So location, and then let's just give the location East, right? East US, right? So we have many locations, many regions, right? But we want to have the one that is closest to us, which is East US. We also have East US too, but we're gonna work with this one now. So I just hit enter, and the resource group has been created. Now, if I want to confirm, I come here to the portal, and here in the home page, okay, I have this icon here that says resource group. So I click on that, and then it takes a few seconds for that to be available, right? So this one is MDC, so it's not there yet. If I refresh this, it's right there, here. Okay, so the resource group has been created. So now that we have the resource group, then we can create a virtual machine, right? So I can come here. So everything clear, guys, so far?
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yes.
You guys understand that part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now we create the VM. Like I said before, the first word is new, right? But now it's not AC resource group. Now we are creating a VM, okay? We are creating a VM. Can you see there? I think it's too close to the top of the screen. So I'm gonna put it down here. So new AC VM, right? We're creating a new VM. Now the resource group is gonna be the one that we just created. The name is MDC new resource group. Okay, be careful with this. If you put the wrong name, it's going to tell you that the resource group doesn't exist. Okay, so the next option is name. We have to give it a name to this virtual machine. So let's give it a name. Let's say MDC AZ MDC virtual machine 001. Okay, now we have to give it a location. Remember location, the one that we created for the resource group. We're gonna give it the same. Location US, East US. Now we're going to create a virtual network, right? Because your virtual machine has to be in a virtual network. That's not something optional. It's mandatory. Okay. This is for security purposes. So virtual network name, we're gonna call it AC MDC VNet. So whenever you hear VNet, that refers to a version network. Okay. So the subnet, we're going to use the default one. So we just put default. Okay. Now we're gonna create a new security group, right? Because your machine has to be protected, and that's where we open the port and everything for communication between the virtual machine and the remote computers. Okay, so we're gonna call it. Actually, I'm missing the word name here. We're gonna call it new security group,
Excuse me.
NDC. Okay, you can give it the name you want. Now we're gonna create a public IP because in order for you to communicate with the virtual machine, it has to have a public IP. Okay, and then we're gonna name it my first IP. Right? And last but not least, we're gonna open the ports, right? And then we're gonna open 80.443, I'm sorry, which is HTTPS, and we're gonna open RDP, which is 3389. Okay, so this is basically what we did on Friday. All right, exactly the same. We just tweaked the names a little bit, but it's the same syntax, same structure. So if you're there already, you can hit enter, and then let's see how a virtual machine is created.
Do you need the dash for the public IP address name?
Correct. That's right. It gave me an error. You're right. Okay. And that's something that we have to realize. You see that the color of these options is kind of gray, and this one is white. You see, because it's missing this guy. Then it becomes gray. So if I had taken a closer look at this, I would have realized that that was wrong, but I just hit enter without even realizing. So and now I can just hit enter, and it just begins asking me for credentials. So I'm gonna give this credential, whatever I want, okay? Just the username, and don't forget that the password has some requirements like 12 characters, okay? And then a capital letter, and then a special character, okay? So now it begins to create the virtual machine. What we have to do now is just wait. What it creates the resource group, it creates the virtual machine, it creates the virtual network, it creates the security group, it creates the public IP, and it opens the ports in the security group. Okay. So if I go here to where it says virtual machine, I might see something there. It's already there, okay? And it's in the status of creating, okay? So it's created already, okay? It's still creating here, even though the command line is showing me that it's being created, right? It's still creating here. So if I refresh this, it's running already, okay? So we just created another virtual machine from the PowerShell. Any questions, guys?
Does it matter what you put for a username and password?
It doesn't matter what you put. You have to remember it. But the password has some requirements. It has to be 12 characters. It has to have a capital letter and a special character.
I didn't put that as the password, but it still created the virtual machine. I didn't follow those rules.
Okay, did you open the port 3389?
Yeah.
Weird. That's weird. Okay. Okay, at some point you have to have that because that's the way that you're gonna connect to the virtual machine. Okay. So we're gonna connect now through remote desktop. and we're gonna need the public IP, and also the application is gonna ask you for your credentials to connect to the public, to the virtual machine. If you don't have a username and a password, you cannot connect. Okay. So I don't know why that happened. It shouldn't have happened.
He's saying that he made the username and password, but he didn't have to follow the whole capital letter exclamation point.
Okay. That's okay. Not a problem. I misunderstood you. I thought you said that you didn't create it. Okay. All right, that's okay. Okay, so let's copy this guy here, the public IP. Let's open remote control, remote desktop, right? So for the Windows guys, don't forget how to do it. It's a different way, okay? Like we explained on Friday. So we click on this, and then we just put the IP address, right? And then we add the virtual machine. Then when we have the virtual machine here, we double click on it, and then it's gonna connect, right? It's gonna ask me for the credentials. I'm gonna enter the password that I created, and then it's gonna connect, ask me for this confirmation of the certificate. I click on that, and then I am connected to the virtual machine. As simple as that. Okay. So now that's easy, pretty easy to work with this virtual machine, but don't forget that you're being charged. Okay. So play with this, but keep in mind that you're being charged. Right. So I can click on any icon here, and those just it just acts like a normal computer. It's just a computer inside a computer. So if I just look for, say, yahoo.com. Sorry. Just looking for yahoo.com now. So it's right here. Okay. So it has internet like any other machine. We don't care about this right now. This configured local server. We don't care about this now. Okay. So we're gonna work on this later in another class. Okay. So we close this, and then we have the virtual machine here, right? So could you do it, guys? Could you do it? Could you connect to the virtual machine?
I'm still trying to.
Not.
Yes, I did.
Okay, Shara, is there any way we can help you?
Well, because by the time I caught up, you had already created the resource group.
Okay.
So
Uh,
I missed the resource group part. I think that's why, but so I don't know. I'm happy to share my screen if we have time, but I don't want to hold anybody back. So
okay, I put the command
oh, I see it
on the chat,
in the chat. Thank you.
and the resource group I'm gonna put in the chat too.
I have this in the resource group. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's do now the CLI. Okay, let's do now CLI, and I'm gonna ask you to delete that virtual machine. But now let us not delete the virtual machine. Let's delete the the resource group. Okay. So what is the name of the resource group? Let's see here. See here, resource group. This guy here. Okay. I'm gonna copy this guy here. And let me remember the CLI. We can use the PowerShell and still use the Azure CLI commands. It works. Okay. So the first letter of the first word that we put there is AZ, like Azure. Okay. That's for the CLI. Or simply you can exit, right? And then we're back to our normal terminal. But the CLI is going to work because we installed it before, right? So you should have this guy here to confirm that your Azure CLI is working. You should have this guy here, Azure.
Can you go over those steps one more time?
All right, so we were before, let me see here. We were before in the PowerShell, right? This is the PowerShell, like before, right? You just exit the PowerShell, and then you are in the command line. But if you install the Azure CLI, it should work if I just type AZ. It should work because the Azure CLI is installed in your computer. Okay, that's the way to confirm that the Azure CLI has been installed successfully by typing AZ, and then you get this bunch of commands, right? Like give you some help to start with the CLI. Okay, did you get that?
Yeah, I got it. I
I
got it.
got
Only
that.
thing that doesn't says it for me is how that changes on the left side. It still says PS home Byron, but it doesn't say what it says for you.
You should exit
Yeah, I did exit, and it's the same exact thing.
because probably exit doesn't work in Windows. This is Mac, and
No,
Mac.
exit works in Windows
Oh, it does. Okay,
Yeah, it does.
I don't know why you don't get it.
unless you didn't install the CLI.
It doesn't matter. It's gonna work anyways because Azure CLI works in PowerShell. Okay,
So,
you don't have to worry about that. So we're gonna log in, right? First command is log in. We're gonna log in, right? AZ login. Okay. So we log in, and then it opens this screen here, and then we click on that, and then it automatically logs us in. Okay. So we're logged in here. As soon as you confirm your email on Azure portal, it automatically, sends you here, and then you are logged in, right? So we clear the screen again. So again, how to log in? AZ login, right? It's gonna take you to this window here where you choose the email in your portal. You'll click on that, and then you have logged into Microsoft Azure. And then here, the terminal shows you that you are logged in. Okay, so we clear again. Now we're gonna delete that resource group. Let me try something here. Let me see if it works. So I'm gonna copy this guy here. So the first command is AZ. For every single command in the Azure CLI, AZ is the first word. Okay, so what are we trying to delete? A resource group. So we say AZ group, and then we say delete, right? And then we say name. Let me see if this works. Okay, kind of improvising here. Are you sure you want to perform this operation? Say yes. Ronnie is deleting the resource group. And once you delete the resource group, it's going to delete everything inside it. All right. So I don't want to go over and delete every single thing, like delete the virtual machine, delete the network. If you do that, it would delete everything inside the resource group. Okay. Now, if I go to the home page and I check that, still there because it takes some time. Okay. But I believe that I will delete it soon. Let's wait for that to finish. How's it going, guys? Are you in? Is it running?
Yeah, it's deleting for me.
Where do we go to delete it again?
Where do you go? In the CLI.
Oh, you have to enter that. Never mind.
Type this.
Yeah. I don't think. Okay.
I put it in the chat. It's taking
And
a
it's
while.
only the that we have to delete, right?
Just the resource group, and it deletes everything inside. So it might fail. Let me see here.
This doesn't affect the virtual machine, right?
It does.
It does, even though it's a
Delete.
separate creation.
Yeah. Okay, resource group Azure CLI. Let me see here. So we have the name, no wait. Yes. Okay. I know what happened here. I thought that it would fail. Or just hang there. Because you have to put yes. Remember, if you delete a resource group manually, this is how it works. So you come to resource group here, you click here on this delete resource group, and then you have to select, you put yes here and confirm, right? So probably this was waiting for that yes. It says here, I mean, the resource group is waiting for that confirmation, right? And then probably I should put here no wait.
After I hit yes and hit enter, it says running.
Yeah, mine too. But it was hanging there, not doing anything.
Hmm.
Well, let me see now. You see? It didn't wait. Let me see if it worked now. Okay, check here. Let me log out and log in. Sometimes it takes longer than normal. Oh, I logged in with the wrong guy. Okay, one moment. Still there.
Oh, it says succeeded.
Succeeded yours?
For some reason, yeah.
Okay.
Let me try
You,
again.
but you don't see it anymore?
Uh,
I still see here. So that's why I said I was improvising. I didn't see any. So what we're gonna do is delete it manually. That's it, because I'm not gonna waste time on this. All right. So I click on that, and then I delete it here, and I put the name, what it says, resource name. So again, we go, what it says here, the resource group, we click on that, and then we come here where it says delete resource group. We delete it, and then we copy the name, and we put it here. Okay. So now we hit delete, and we start deleting the resource group. Okay. So we might have a problem here with the virtual network. Okay. So let's delete this guy too. Let me see if it happens what I'm thinking. You say failed. It fell here because the subnet there is like a dependency there. Okay, that's why probably the CLI was not working, because there's a guy there that is, you know, stopping this from happening. All right, let's see what happens when it deletes the resource group. All right, if it doesn't delete it, don't worry, we're gonna continue working. We're not gonna stop on this. Okay, but this is the command based on the documentation from Azure. That's the command to delete a resource group. Okay, AC group delete, and then the name, and these are all the commands, other options here. Now it says here that these are the required parameters. Okay, the name, the resource group, those are required parameters that you have to put. Optional parameters is subscription, right? See, required parameters. So right now, this is gone. You see the network's gone. So if I click on the resource group, just refresh this, is gone. Let me see, it's gone. Well, let me see here. Still have these guys here, but the virtual machine is gone. Okay. You see, there's nothing inside the resource group anymore. And if I go to the virtual machines, there's nothing here. It's gone too. Just by deleting the resource group, I delete all the services inside the resource group. Okay. So far so good, guys. So far so good.
Yep.
My PowerShell is stuck on running.
Still running?
Yeah.
You stop it and put, I mean, did you forget about this and did it manually?
Yeah, that's what I put.
Okay. So we did it manually because this was not working. There were some dependencies there. Okay. And it had to be done manually. Okay. Of course, it is doable. It just takes a little more thinking that we don't have time now. All right. I was improvising for this one, not for the ones coming up, but for this one I was improvising. All right. So don't worry about that now. Let's continue. So the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna add a user. Okay. Remember how we added a user in Azure? It's just by coming here to Azure Active Directory, right? And then in the Active Directory, we come here where it says user, and then in user, we just click on new user, right? And then we just give it a name and say Julito, okay? And then the name is Julito El Pescador. And then Julito Pescador. Okay? We're gonna give it a password because we want to. We can just auto-generate one. Okay? And then we just click on create. And then we created a Julito Pescador user. Okay? That's how you do it manually, right? Now we're gonna do it from the CLI. From the CLI, the first command is AZ. That's the first word of every single command. Don't forget that. Now, what is the service that we are actually using here? What is this? Active Directory, right? So the second word is AD, right? So for the group was group, because we were working with a resource group. Now we're working with Active Directory that has to do with the users and the groups and the roles, all that. So we just working with that. And the other word is user because we're adding a user, okay? Now the operation is create. So we are in an Active Directory we are working with the user and we're gonna create one. Okay. So the first, let's go back here and let's select user for you to have an idea. Okay. So the first thing that we have to do is just put the username in the CLI is the user principal name. Okay, is this one here? Is the username. All right, that's the username. Now, username has this domain. Okay, this is my email, the email that I use, but there's no @ symbol. It's just email. Instead of putting an @ symbol here, there's nothing. gmail.onmicrosoft.com. So that's the domain for this user. Okay, and every single user that I create under this tenancy. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a name, and I'm gonna say Juan Carlos, right? Juan Carlos. And then let me put it here. Let me move this a little bit here so you can see it better. Juan Carlos, right? And then after Juan Carlos, we have to put this symbol here. You see the symbol here, this @ symbol? So we have to put in the CLI too. Okay? Don't forget that. Put it, click here. What happened here? Okay, user, new user. Okay, so we have this here. So I'm gonna put the email. Okay, Wendy Menendez 1984 or 984, right? See, there's no @ symbol here. There's no @ symbol here. So we put Gmail dot and then on Microsoft. Remember, this is my account. Yours is different. Don't forget that. Okay. So far we have AC, AD, Active Directory, user, create a user, and then the user principal name is Juan Carlos at Wendy's Menendez 1984 gmail.onmicrosoft.com. So you have the email, just remove the @ symbol.
Does it have to be a Gmail? Can it also be like a live?
No, whatever email you used for your account. So if you click here, it's the email that you used.
Yeah.
Mine is Gmail, but yours should be, could be Yahoo or Hotmail, whatever you use here.
Gotcha.
You just put what it says here, right? That's the user principal name. Now, the display name is this name here, right? This name here. And then I'm gonna put between quotation marks because it's 2 words, first name and last name. So I just to play safe, I put it inside quotation mark. So I could put here Juan Carlos, okay? And then I close here. Okay, so I'm gonna put a password here, which is a required option here, parameter, and I'm gonna say 2020. Okay, doesn't matter if I show this in the video. It doesn't matter. I'm not using this. Okay, so Carlos, maybe 450. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. Okay, so password, and then that's it. That's it. You just hit enter, and the user will be created. Okay, so now hit enter, and the user is created. Okay, now if I just come here to the user section, let me refresh this. It takes a while. Okay. There you go. Juan Carlos right here. Okay. Juan Carlos right here. So I'm gonna paste this in the chat. Anyways, I'm gonna send you a document, guys, with all this. Okay. All this information, all the commands that we're using. Yeah, Eric, you used the PowerShell to remove the group. That's pretty good. Okay. Nice. All right, so we created Juan Carlos right now. Okay. So far, so good, guys. How are we doing?
I have one question. What will be the advance of using like the CLI instead of using the tools that Azure gives you to create a user? For me,
The portal,
yeah,
the CLI is faster.
CLI software.
Yeah, much faster. And you can automate things. You don't have to do everything manually. Once you get a hold on this, once you get you become fast in this, it's super fast. You don't even have to log in or enter a password or anything. It just work from the CLI. And actually, that's the ultimate goal of every administrator, is to become a CLI guy more than a portal guy. Okay. So
Okay,
becoming
yeah.
familiar with the CLI, it's a plus. All right. It's a plus to work faster and more efficiently. Okay. Now that we have created this user, let's list the users. So how do we do that? AZ Active Directory user list. Okay, so we should have Duniez Giotano, Francisco Bueno, Juan Carlos, Juan Pedro, Julitos Pescador. But if I hit enter, there you go. I have all the users in my account with all this, the properties of that user. Okay, so if you hit that, if you do the same, you're gonna have as many users as you have in your account. Okay, and this is important to have because if you want to delete a user, you would need the member ID. So the member ID is gonna be the object ID, and if you have mastery of the CLI, you're gonna find that real quick. So you don't have to log in to your account. So you can come here and find this guy here, the object ID, if you want to delete that particular user. Okay. So let me copy this guy here because we're gonna delete the user. All right. So come to one of the users that you have, guys, and copy the object ID, which is the same as member ID. Okay. Also, if you want to add a user to a group, you will need this ID because this is what identifies your user. It's like your driver's license. You have an ID, right? So that's how people identify you. This is the way you identify a user, with the object ID. Okay? So we listed all the users, and that's okay. And let me grab another ID because I didn't just object ID. Okay, object ID, and this is, let me copy the object ID here. This is Julito. Okay, that's Julio el Pescador. Okay, just to check when I delete it, so I can know what I deleted. Okay, now let's create a group. Okay, so we don't have any group right now. We have here in the directory, we have users, but we don't have any group. So if I click here in groups, I only have one. Okay, but I need to create one so I can put all the people there. Okay, so how do I create a group? So in the portal, I come here, it says group, right? And I click on that, and then I hit new group. So when I hit new group, what I have to give it a name, so it should be security or Office 365 is just the type of the group. I give it a name. I said Office group, right? And then I select Office. And then this is gonna be the domain of that group, okay? I click on create, and then it creates a group. As simple as that. It's very simple to create a group, okay? I'm gonna create another one. So now, I think that by now you have an idea of what to do here. So first word is AC. We're working with Active Directory, AD. We're adding a group, so we say group, and then we are creating one. It's like the user, ACAD user create, ACAD group create, okay? So now, the other option is display name, and we're gonna call it dev group. It's gonna be group for developers, okay? Dev group. And then this option here is for mail nickname, something that has to do with the nicknames of the email list, right? And then we're gonna say Office 365, okay? This one is important, and I missed one dash. I would have gotten an error if I didn't realize that. Okay, so we're gonna call this group dev group, and then it's gonna have this nickname Office 365. So I hit enter, and then the group is created, right? And then if I refresh here, it's right here, dev group, okay? Right? So I created a group. So I'm gonna put this guy here in the chat.
Professor, don't we create a resource group, then we put AD into that, or it's a different thing? Active Directory is separate from resource group?
Right, because you're not creating resources. You're creating a user.
So users are not in resource
No,
group?
they're not resources. A
Okay.
user is a user.
So
Guys,
user,
by the way, don't panic. This is not gonna be your exam, okay? You don't have to write any commands in the exam, but you should become familiar with the CLI. Okay? Yes, Anand, you were saying?
yeah, so users are always in Active Directory, and resource groups are all resources, what services we uses is on resource groups, right?
Correct. Okay, so now what we're gonna do before we go to the break, we're gonna add a user to the group. So we say AC, right? AD, let me clear the screen so you can see it better. AC, AD, group, right? Member add. So we're adding a member, okay? And what is the group where we're gonna add that user? The group is gonna be dev
group.
group,
Mhm.
right? And then how do we identify the user, right? By member ID, because we have to let the CLI know what user we are adding to what group, right? And I think that we copied that before, right? No, I did. I copied something after that. So what I have to do is come back and grab one of the users. Grab one of the users here. And look for the object ID, right? Right here. Object ID of Julito. Julito, right? And then come down here and paste it here, right? So we put it there. Now, if we hit enter, then the user was added to the group. So if I check here, if I come here to Active Directory and I come to group here, and we have here dev group, if I click on that, I'm gonna see that there's one user there, right? You see one user here. If I click on members, Julito el Pescador is inside the group. You see? Guys, I hear a lot of silence. That concerns me. Are you guys understanding?
No, I'm following so far.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, you have a lot of commands here in the CLI. Okay, you can use Google when you have any problem. You see? There's a lot of documentation in Azure CLI. Azure created a lot of documentation to be able to do things like here. Yeah. Commands, all that. It just follow the pattern and grabbing all the information from the other. So if you have to grab all these IDs, things like that, then you have to log in the CLI, right? I mean, the portal. But if you do this, you know, you see, I don't have to enter the CLI, the portal. I can grab the ID from here. Okay. But I think that if I do this, let me see if it works. Okay. If I do this, ACAD user show, and then say, I think his name. You see? ID. Yeah, but that, I need to have the ID for that. Okay. It will give me that user specifically. Okay. Only one user. It's right here. As you can see, a user has a lot of properties. Okay. And the object ID is, and it's a good thing that is alphabetically ordered. Okay, so you go and find the O, and then you have the object ID here. All right. That's the ID of that user, the object ID. Okay. So now if you want to see the members of the group, then you can say AC AD group member list, and then the name of the group, and then it gives you all the members of the group. Of course, there's only one, which is Julito Pescador. Okay, it's right here. Okay. Guys, tell me something. How's it going? How's it going? For the ladies, I don't see any ladies speaking.
I'm just following along.
So am I. Because on my group stuff, I see a whole list of stuff that's under Miami-Dade College. I don't see that.
I'm having the same issue. I use my MDC account to create an Azure, and it only has Active Directory for the entirety of MDC, and I don't have the rights to do anything with it.
Exactly.
So I don't know if
So my solution for that is create your own account.
Create your own account. I got
I assume this much.
And you're gonna have more money. The only The only setback is that you have to enter your credit. But you're not gonna be charged anything. When you run out of the $200, it just doesn't give you any more access to the resources. That's it.
I know on my MDC account, it tells me I already used up some of the money.
Ready?
Because I guess I didn't delete the ones I initially created.
Okay. So guys, we're gonna take a 10 minutes break. It's right now 7:59. I see you at 8:09.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're back. Okay, we're back here. So now we had add a user to a group. We listed all the users in the group. Now let's delete the group. Okay. So how do we delete the group? Right? How do we delete the group? So we say AC AD group delete. Okay, group delete. And then we say the group of the name of the group. And then we hit enter and put the group is gone. So if I come here and I come back to this guy and I click on groups, the group is not there anymore. The def group is not there anymore. Okay. So I want to delete this one too, and the name is office group, right? So I'm going to do the same.
So with the group, that user is also gone.
No, the user is not gone.
Not gone. Okay.
Because you're not creating the user inside the group. You created the user first, and then you assign that to a group.
Okay.
Two independent things.
Okay.
Okay. So now I'm going to do that, and then I delete the other one, and the other one is gone. So if I just hit refresh here, the group is gone. But if I go to the users section, I still see the users there, right? So the fact that I delete a group doesn't mean that I'm going to delete the user. Okay? It just deletes a group. Now we're going to delete the user. Now I have to find the member ID or the ID of that user. So I can list the users again. I can say AD users list. Okay? And then I list the users again, and I grab the ID of one, the object ID. Just go by the alphabet, the over here, and then grab that ID, right? And the user is Dunieski, right here is the one here, Dunieski Otano. But Dunieski Otano is the owner of the account. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna come to another one. I'm gonna find here, this is Julito. So I'm gonna delete Julito. Okay. So Julito Pescador is right here. Okay. It's right here. I'm gonna delete Julito. Okay. So it's very simple. It's just AC, AD for Active Directory, user, delete. Okay. And then I put ID and then the ID of the guy. Okay. Now if I enter, it deletes the user. So if I refresh here, Julito Pescador should be gone, is gone. Okay. Let me try another one. Okay. I'm gonna grab the object ID from here. I'm not gonna get it from the CLI. I just copy the object ID and I'm going to delete Juan Pedro. Okay, so I click here and I say ACAD user delete and then ID, and I'm gonna delete Juan Pedro. Okay, so I just hit enter. And if I come here to this home here, Active Directory, and then I click on user, just this guy is gone. Okay, Juan Pedro. I'm gonna delete Juan Carlos too, because I want you to know how to do this real well. I'm gonna do the same thing, AD user delete, and then ID, and I copy the ID, I paste it, I'm sorry, and then I hit enter, and that one is gone too. So if I go back and I refresh, it's gone. I'm gonna delete Francisco 102. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing, but the ID is gonna be different now. Okay, I hit enter, Come back here to all users. I refresh. Refresh and refresh again. It takes a while, and then Francisco one is gone too. Okay, so I deleted a group and I deleted a user. Okay. So now let's create a resource group here. Okay, because we're gonna create a network and we're gonna create a CLI, a virtual machine. So let's create a resource group. So let's see AC group, create. We're gonna give it a name. We're gonna call it today new resource group. Okay, and the location is gonna be East US. Okay, East US. So guys, don't worry. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna post on Slack the list of all these commands that I'm using. Okay. So if I hit enter, it created the resource group. If I come here to resource group and I just hit refresh several times, it takes a while. It has to deploy the resource. Just give it a minute. There you go. It's right here. Okay, this resource has been created. I'm gonna copy that resource group because I'm gonna use that. Okay. Now, I'm going to create a VNet. Okay. I'm gonna create a VNet, a virtual network. So AC network VNet create. Okay. The name is gonna be today new MDC VNet. Okay. Resource group is gonna be the one that we just created. Right. Location is gonna be East US. And the subnet name is going to be default. And it's going to get the CIDR by default, everything by default. Okay. So if I hit enter, the network was created for me. Okay. It has this CIDR here, 10.0.0.0/24, right? It says here that's seated. So if I come here and I click on networks and I refresh here, I have the today new main VNet right here. So if I click on that, I have the address space here. I have the subscription ID. This is the resource group. If I click on the resource group, I see that the VNet is inside that resource group. Okay. So now that I have this information, I can create a virtual machine. Okay. So now I come here and say AC VM create. The resource group is going to be the one that we just created, right? Now we have the name of the virtual machine is going to be virtual machine 002. Okay, any name you want. Okay. Image, we are creating a virtual machine, a Windows one. So we say Win 2016 data center. Okay. That's the image when you create a virtual machine, right? you have to select an image. Right here, you have to select an image. So the one that we're selecting is this one, Windows 2016 data center. But when you create that in the CLI, you don't say Windows, you say Win 2016. Okay. So now we're gonna give you the admin username, right? Username is gonna be Duniez Quetano, right? That's the username. We're gonna generate some SSH keys. Just in case we want to connect to the computer via port 22, which is SSA, right? And then the VNet name, because we're putting the virtual machine inside a virtual network. So I come here to the CLI, and then I find the virtual network, the one that we just created is this one. I copy the name, and I put it here, right? Now the subnet is gonna be the default one. Right. I'm gonna use some tags here for you guys to see how to create tags. I'm gonna say name equals server 1, right? And now I'm going to open port 3389. Okay, so basically we're doing the same as before, but this time we're using the CLI. Okay, so we're creating a resource group, a virtual machine, and then we put the virtual machine inside the resource group that we created. We give it a name. The image is Win 2016 data center. The admin username is going to be Duniez Quetano. Remember, we always create a username, right? And then we generate SSH keys. We put it inside a virtual network, the one that we created before. We put it inside the default subnet, which is inside the virtual network. We give it a tag. The name is server 1. And in the network security group, we open rule port 3389, which is RDP. Okay. Now, if we hit enter, it prompts us for the password. Okay. So now we have to give it a password. We confirm the password. And then it starts creating the virtual machine for me. This is exactly what we did on Friday. I just added the virtual network and the subnet and the tag and the network security rule. But the rest is the same as we did on Friday. Okay. I just wanted to open port 3389 so that we can connect from the remote. Okay, one moment. What I have here? Okay, the name is too long. Okay, not a problem. I can do up arrow here, and then I can give it a short name. So I can say vmachine, and then I hit enter. I just put the password again. Okay, I figure. Start running now. So let's go to virtual machines here and see if something is shown. It's right here. It's creating right now. Okay. It's just deploying this particular virtual machine. Okay. It's in the resource group that we created. The virtual network is the one that we created today, new MDC VNet. The subnet is the default one, just like we planned. 2006 data center. That's the image Windows data center. We click here, we just refresh this, it's running already. Okay, it's running already. So how do we stop? Can someone tell me how do we stop this virtual machine? Can someone tell me? If I want to stop it, how do I do that?
What do you mean by stop it?
I'm sorry?
Easy stop.
AC stop, are you sure?
AZ VM stop.
AC VM stop. And then what else? How do we identify the virtual machine?
By the name.
Correct. So we put the name, and the name is right here. Okay. So we just copy and paste, and then enter. We're missing the resource group. Doesn't matter. I understand that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so I can come here and just copy this guy from here. Okay. And then I paste it, enter, and it begins to stop the CLI. I'm sorry, the virtual machine. So right now it's stopping. Okay. When it finished stopping this and it's in the stop status, am I still charged or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you have to deallocate.
What is the status that it has to be in for me not to be charged?
Deallocate.
Unallocated.
So how do I deallocate a computer, a virtual machine?
Easy VM deallocate.
So like this, do I need the same options like name and resource group?
No, just virtual machine name. That's it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let's try that. Do we need it or not? Do we need it or not?
Yes,
Yes, you do. You need to know, point it to where you're going to be.
So for stop, deallocate, start, we need that. Okay. So now if I hit enter and I refresh this, is in the allocating status. You see here? Now I am safe. You see here the tags, how the tags work? What we created before, name and server one. This is how it works. Now I'm not charged if I'm not using this virtual machine.
What does the deallocation do different than the stop?
When you stop it, you're still charged. You have to deallocate it for you not to be charged.
But aside from that, like what else? What other difference is there between deallocation and
It
stop?
take away the subnet. The subnet is not associated, so you're not charged. That's why.
Yeah, this is mainly about money here. You see, money. But let me see this one here. It's all about money. You know, you get charged for stopped one. But if you deallocate it, yeah, when it stops, you still able to communicate with it via RDP. But when it's deallocated, you cannot.
All right, thank you.
You're still charged because of allocated resources. Yeah, the resources still allocated there, like CPU, RAM, all that, when it's stopped. But if you deallocate, it means that the CPU would not be there, RAM would not be there anymore. So you're not charged for any computing resources or anything. So it's all about money, you know?
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. So we stop. Now we want to start it. What do we do?
Start.
If you want to start the computer again?
Restart.
No, start. We can say restart. Let's say if it works. You see, it has to be running for that.
Ah, okay. It's like a reboot. Okay.
Oh. So for that one, we're gonna say start. Okay. So now if we just refresh this, it is in the starting status. Okay. Let's delete the virtual machine as soon as it started, because I don't want it there. Okay. So are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. I've been charged $5 since Friday, since the first day of class, Wednesday.
Yeah, I've been charged $18 since the first day.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's wait for the CLI to be ready. Okay. We have like 3 or more things to do before we create the script. Okay. So now let me delete that CLI. Sorry, that virtual machine. So we say ACVM delete. ACVM delete. And then we say name. Exactly the same thing. So I don't have to type everything again. I just put up arrow here. And instead of saying start, I just say delete. Okay. And this is not stopping or deallocating. This is just deleting. I'm deleting the whole thing. Okay. So now if I just refresh this, it's deleting. Okay. So I don't have to worry about anything else. Just have some peace of mind that I'm not going to be charged for anything. Okay. So remember that we install this guy. Remember this guy?
Yes, Storage Explorer.
The Azure Storage Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that we created this?
Yes.
Right now, we don't have any container or anything. We don't have any blob containers. Remember, just when you think about blob containers, think about S3 buckets in AWS. Same thing. Okay. So a blob is S3. Okay. Any S3 file. So we're gonna create one from the CLI. Okay. And then we're gonna see here. We're gonna be able to see here because we are connected to our account. So if we hit here, I am connected to my subscription. Okay. So I'm gonna be able to see whatever I created the CLI. Okay. So let me create one manually first for you to see how to create a storage account. So I have one here, which I'm gonna delete because I don't need it. Okay. And I put yes here. I delete it and it's gone. It's super quick. Okay. Now I just add one. And of course, I have to select a resource group like always. So I'm gonna select the one that we created today. Okay, I'm gonna call it my first storage account. Okay, it's already taken. Remember when we study AWS with S3 bucket, it's a global name. The same with this. It has to be unique. So I'm gonna give it a name, my name. And it's too long, so I'm gonna say like this probably. Okay, so it's gonna be in the East US region. All right, so I'm gonna select here blob storage, okay, because I'm creating a blob storage. Now I have here the replication. Replication, I have locally redundant storage, geo-redundant storage, and read access geo-redundant storage. So if I click here and say locally redundant storage, okay? So we click here on data and data redundancy. So we have here locally redundant storage is mean copies your data synchronously 3 times within a single physical location in the primary region. So in the same region, 3 copies of that in the same region. So locally redundant storage is the least expensive replication option, but it's not recommended for applications requiring high availability. It means if this region is down as it is local, then you lose all the data, okay, which is not good. So zone redundant storage, ZRS, copies your data synchronously across 3 Azure availability zones in the primary region. For applications requiring high availability, Microsoft recommends using ZRS in the primary region and also replicating to a secondary region. So one region is not enough, okay? So don't forget that. I'm gonna put this link here in the chat. That's very important for high availability. Samuel, you can deallocate it. Samuel, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You can stop it if you want to stop it, or you can deallocate it, and it will both stop it and deallocate it. So you can do it straight. You can go straight to the allocation, and it will do both operations. So doing stop and then deallocate is 2 steps. But if you do deallocate only, it will do the 2 steps in one. It will stop it and deallocate it at the same time. So you don't need to stop and deallocate. You can deallocate and that's it. I will show you like the different steps. You know, if you want to do it, if you want to stop it only and leave it there because you don't want to lose the CPU and the RAM, you still want to have that allocated in your virtual machine. But if you want to deallocate it, you just do it and that's it. And you're not going to be charged for that. Okay. So in this case, we're going to choose locally redundant storage because we don't care about high availability. Okay. So here in the access tier, I can choose hot or cool, right? Which one do you think is going to be more expensive?
Hot,
The hot one.
Why?
because it is ready.
You know, it's more expensive on one hand, but on the other hand, it's not more expensive. Because if you have files that are accessed frequently, right, it means that you're going to have them there and they're going to be immediate. But if you archive them and then you need to retrieve them, it's going to be more expensive for you to get them because it takes more time. So on one hand, hot is more expensive than cool. But on the other hand, cool is more expensive than hot because it takes more time to retrieve the information in the cool one. Okay? That for now, we guys, sorry, Byron?
So it just depends on like what you plan to do with the information.
Correct. Correct. In this case, we're going to use hot. Okay? So networking now. I can put here a public endpoint, all networks. Okay. The routing gonna leave it default. Data protection. Soft delete. Soft delete is that, you know, what it means is whenever you delete a blob, it's gonna stay there for 7 days before it's deleted completely, just in case you change your mind. That's what a soft delete is. Okay, so I can put here 73. Let me put here 7 days, just to give these people some time. 7 days before it's completely deleted. Okay, that's what it means. But in this case, I'm gonna disable it. I don't care about that. Okay, you can have versioning just in case you want to. Of course, this is not eligible for that. Versioning is every time you save the same file, it's going to create a version for it. It's like you modify the file and then you uploaded the file again. It created a version for you. It's even good for protecting your files against hackers, because the hacker gets the original file, you still have the version. So versioning is good for protection of your container or blob storage. Okay, so I'm going to hit next, and then I'm going to say advanced. In the advanced, I'm going to have some transfer security. In transfer, I'm going to have some blob public access. I want everybody to have access to it if I want to. The TLS version, I can use this one or this one, whatever I want to use. Data lake storage generation, I'm not concerned about that now. Let's leave that to the administrators, not to us. I can give it a tag name. I don't want to do that. And then I can create, it passed the validation, I can create the storage. Okay, it's super quick when it creates the storage. It's just deploying it here, right? And like I said on Friday, if I click on resource group, I can see all the deployments here. Right here, if I click on deployments, I can see all the deployments here. All the ones that succeeded, the ones that are deploying right now, right? If I refresh, succeeded, because it says here, go to resource. It means that it created the storage already, right? And then I can create a container here, a container, right? A container is the S3 bucket. So I create a container. I call the container, let's say, my container, okay? My container. I just give it a block anonymously read access for blob only, right? Of course, it gives me this warning, right? And then I just create that. The container is created, right? Now in the container, I can upload a file, okay? So I can click on upload. I can look for the file here in my computer. I'm gonna put here, for example, the certificate here. Maybe this one here. Okay. And then I upload it. All right. And it's been uploaded. Perfect. So right now I have my file here. It's hot. Okay. And if I click on it, I can download it if I want to. Right. Or maybe if I just paste this guy here, I can see it because it's publicly accessed. Okay. So I have this URL here, which is the URL for my file. If I give you guys this URL, okay, if I put it here in the chat and you click on it, you can see it from your computer because it's a public URL. Okay. Did I put it here? No. The chat, where's the chat here? Where's the chat here? Okay, right here. So I can put it here and you can see it from your computers. All right. I paste it on the chat. Okay. So this is how you create a container. First, you create the storage account. Then you create the container because it's a blob storage. It has containers. And then after you have the container, you can upload the file. Now, if I come to this guy here, the one that we saw before, right? And we refresh here, we're going to see that we have this. Oh, it's right here. So I have this guy here, and then I have my container here. And if I click on the container, I have the file here. Okay, I have the file here. So this is a good way to treat your storage account externally. It's a good way to do that. I can upload the file from here if I want to, right? I can upload the file here. Okay, I can do it from the portal, or I can do it from here. Okay, now I don't like that, so I'm gonna delete this storage account because I want to create it from the CLI, right? So I'm not gonna use that. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh this, and this will be gone soon. So I don't have to worry about that. Now I'm going to create one from the CLI. Okay, that's what I want. So what is the first thing that you have to do? You have to create the Azure storage account. So AC storage account create. You see, guys, it's standard thing. It's always the same thing. It's AC, the service, and the operation. It's not something new every time you do it. It's just the same pattern. The name of the account is going to be my blob container. Just the name I want to say. I want to give it. The account name. Account name is going to be my storage MDC. My storage MDC. And then I want to give it public access. Okay. Sorry, guys, that's not correct. That's not correct. The name comes here. My storage MDC. And then the access tier, remember we chose hot? We're going to say hot again. Okay. The kind is going to be blob storage because remember we chose blob storage. It's like we did in the portal. Okay. The default action is going to be allow or deny. In this case, we're going to allow. Okay. And the resource group, remember, we put it inside the resource group, is going to be, let me come here again, and we choose resource group here. And this is the guy. We just put it here. And that's it. That's it. We created the storage account. Now we hit enter. I have a problem here. Probably I typed something wrong here. Oh, resource group.
Yeah.
Oh, I put it wrong. Oh, yeah. I forgot the dashes before. I forgot the 2 dashes. Sometimes it happens to me.
So good.
Yeah. Now it creates that. Running. And then if I click here and I look for storage accounts, and I refresh, should show in a minute.
No. No, se lo está haciendo nada.
Right here. Okay. So it's right here. It takes some time for that to show. Remember, the second step now is to create what? What do we create now? What do we create inside the storage account? What do we create now?
A container.
A container. Okay, so that will be AC storage account. Not account. We're not creating account. It's container. Storage container. Create. Okay. Now we're gonna give it a name. And we're gonna call it my blob container. All right. The account name is the one that we created before. Is what? My storage MDC. So that'll be my storage MDC. And then just give it a name, and then I see my blob. Okay, just the name. No, I'm sorry. public access, public access. Sorry, public access. I already put the name. Blob. All right. So that's the public access blob. All right. So we could create a container. We give it a name, my blob container. The account where the container is going to be is my storage MDC, and it's going to have public access. Right. So I hit enter. Now connection string doesn't matter. Created true. Okay. So if I come here to this container account, I'm going to see that if I look for containers right here, I'm going to see that there's a container there. Okay. Now, once we have the container, what do we do? What do we do, guys?
You have to attach it.
Now we have to upload a file, right? Can we upload a file from the CLI? Do you think so?
Sure.
Let's try it. Okay. So I have my files in the desktop. Right now, I am in the root directory. So I'm going to navigate to the desktop to find the path of that file. Okay, so if I do ls, which is list everything that is in the directory, in the desktop directory, I'm going to have that I have a lot of files here. I'm going to grab one. I'm going to grab this Wahido's MPN, PNG. Okay, this is in my desktop, right? And I don't have to put a file because I am in the directory where the file is, right? So if I click here, clear, I can say AC storage blob, because we are uploading a blob as a file. Upload. Okay. And then we're going to say, what's the name of the container where we're going to put that? Right? Container name. Right? What's the name of the container? It's right here, my blob container, right? My blob container. The file is going to be what? The one that I copied, Wahido's PNG, right? The account name, remember the account name of the storage account that I created? Account name is going to be what? Let me go here to storage accounts. My storage MDC. My storage MDC, right? And then the name is going to be blob, my blob, just the name. Okay. Now, if I hit enter, I can see that the file has been modified and has been inside the container. Now, if I click here, and I go to container, and I click on container, I see that my blob has been uploaded inside my container. Now, if I come here to this guy here, and I refresh, I'm going to see that inside this, my storage MDC, there is a container, which is my blob container. And inside that, there is a file called my blob. Okay. If I click on my blob, I trust this, and then I say, open it. And then I see this file here that was my blob. Okay. This file here, my blob, was downloaded. And why am I able to do this? Because in the container, I said that the public access is open. Okay. So guys, do you see? We can do everything that we do in the portal. We can do it in the CLI. Everything. Now, notice that if you're not in the directory where the file is, you have to find the path of the file. Otherwise, this will not find it. But as I am in the directory where the file is, which is desktop, I don't have to put the path. I just put the name of the file and it immediately finds it. Okay. Otherwise, we have to put, you know, like, let me see here, like probably you have to put something like probably C, something like that. I don't know, user, WSKey, I don't know, Wahid, something like that. You have to put the path so it can find it. Okay. But as I am in the directory, that's why I do it this way. I put this file into desktop. I navigated to the desktop, and then I found that in the desktop, and just it grabbed it and uploaded it for me. Guys, do you have any questions?
Not yet.
Is it difficult to you? Too much information?
No, it's just getting used to the commands.
All right. How about we create an automated script to create all this all at once?
Oh, nice.
Would you like that?
See.
Yes. Sí, ¿por qué no? Let's do it. Okay, so let me delete the container. Let me delete this container here. I mean, this guy here. I'm gonna delete it. Let me just clean. Can you clean everything, guys? Just delete this resource group. We're gonna delete it. We don't need it. We're gonna create it with the script. Okay, I'm gonna create with the script. Okay. Do we have virtual machine? We're gonna delete the virtual machine if we have one. No, we don't have any. Okay. VNet. Let's delete the VNet here. Let's see if we can delete it. It failed because it has some dependencies. Okay, not a problem. But if we delete this guy, it will delete everything. Okay. So, okay, deleting the resource group. Perfect. Okay, guys. So, does anyone have any knowledge about Linux? How to create a file in Linux? Anyone here? No.
Not me.
Yeah, touch command.
Okay, I understand. Not a problem. Not a problem. That was funny. Okay, not a problem.
You put the touch and create the file.
Okay, we can use this touch thing, right? And now I want to do this. I want to just put this bigger. Okay, so I want you to. So I want you to just see this. What I'm gonna do. Okay, let me see here. Okay, maybe here. Okay, and then I put this here. Okay, and then I would put this smaller. Okay, smaller, and then I say clear, clear. One of the ways to create a file is just by saying touch. Well, actually, let me navigate to the desktop first. Okay, so with CD, what it stands for is change directory. So we're moving from the root directory to the desktop. That's why we say CD desktop. Okay. Now, if I do touch and I call this today with extension txt, which is text, it creates a file for me. Okay. Now, if I do ls list, I'm gonna see touch somewhere there. It's right here. Today txt. Okay. Now, if I put something inside that, let me see if I can find it here. If I put something inside that text, right? And I say today is a tough class for me. Lots of commands. The R making me crazy. Okay. Now, if I save this, Control S or Command S in Mac computer, now I can see the content of that file. I just put it cat today txt, and then I see the content of the file. It says today is a tough day, tough class for me. Those commands that are making crazy. So 2 commands: touch to create a file, and cat to display whatever is inside the file. Okay, that is Linux. Now I'm not gonna create a file like that. I'm gonna use a text editor that is named Nano. I don't know if you know that. Do you guys know Nano? Nano? No?
Yes, I know.
Nano is a command, and at the same time is a text editor. Okay, so I'm gonna say Nano, and I'm gonna call this file today executable. Okay, we're gonna call that today executable. And of course, whenever you create an executable file, it has to have sh extension, because we're gonna run this file later. If you want to make it an executable, it has to have sh, okay, as an extension. Now, when you click on that, it's gonna open the text editor for you, and then you can start writing inside the file. Okay, pretty nice, huh? Now, the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna type this guy, which is the interpreter of bash. Okay, so we're gonna say bin dash bash. Okay, this is the shebang. All right, it has to be there for that to interpret is a bash file. Okay. Okay. So now this is a comment. Whenever you put the pound sign, that's a comment. It means that the compiler is going to ignore that line. Okay. So we say create. The first one, create an ID Active Directory user. That doesn't matter. The compiler is going to ignore that because it has a pound symbol at the beginning. Okay. So what the first command we're going to do is we're going to do this like we did before. Okay. So I'm going to copy that from my list. All right. Exactly as we did before. How do we create a user? Exactly the same thing. So I'm going to put here, same thing. Okay. Same thing that we did before. Okay. Add a user, create display name, Pedro Mendoza, dash password, this one, dash user dash principal dash name, and then the custom domain here, like we did before, exactly the same. Okay. Something that you can do, if you want to make this more beautiful, what you can do is this. You can come here and make it more organized for you guys. You can divide this into different lines. So we can do this to make it more organized. You see, more organized. Be careful with this guy here. Is backslash, is not forward slash. If you do forward slash, you're gonna get an error. And leave a space between them. Leave a space between them. That's when you have a long line. You can separate this in different lines. After each option, you put the display name, the name, and then you put the password, and then you put the user principal name, user principal name. Okay. Now, next operation is going to be another command because we're giving a name to each one. The other one is going to be create a group. So first we create a user, then we create a group. I'm going to grab the command that I used before, and I'm going to put it here. Remember, we deleted all these guys. Okay. Okay. So I can do the same thing. I can put it more organized. I can say this, this, put it here, and this, put it here. Beautiful. It's more beautiful that way. Okay. Same. Let me do it the same way here. If I keep the pattern, I keep the pattern in every single one. Okay. So number 3 is going to be, we're going to add a user to a group. Okay. We're going to add a user to a group. But we're going to have a problem. I need to create a user first. Let's create a. Let me grab Dunieski. Let me grab Dunieski here, and let me get the ID from Dunieski. Okay. Let me grab the ID from Dunieski, the object ID. Okay. So I'm gonna put here. We're gonna add user to a group. Okay. And then we're gonna say, let me put the ID here, right? And I'm gonna add Dunieski to a group, and let me paste this before the ID. And left space here. See, exactly the same as we did before. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we create a user. We add a user to a group. The other operation is we are creating a resource group. Okay, so we are creating a resource group. So we say here, create a resource group, right? And then we're gonna do this. Okay, same thing, nothing new. Okay, we just do this, and then do this. Now we're going to create a VNet. Create a VNet. In other words, that's a version network. Okay. Now with the version network, we're going to copy everything that we did before, right? And we're gonna paste it here. Okay. So now I'm gonna come here and divide this and make it more beautiful. Okay. So I'm gonna just have this here. Okay. So the CLI is gonna read it like one line, but you are divided in different lines. Right? So the next operation, what we're gonna do is we're going to create a virtual machine. Okay. Okay. So we are creating a virtual machine, resource group, right? Okay. Resource group, same resource group as before. The name of the virtual machine is going to be VM002. The image is going to be Win 2016 Data Center. The administrator username is going to be Dunieski Otano. Generate, it's the same command as we did before, exactly the same. There's nothing new. Okay. And of course, we are missing something here. Oh, it was here. Okay. Exactly the same. Nothing new. Guys, nothing new. We are creating a VM. Okay. Nothing new. Now we're going to create a storage account. Exactly what we did before. Nothing new. Now we create a storage account. Okay. So we are copying and pasting everything that we did before. Nothing new, nothing fancy. Okay. Same thing, the name of the account, because the account we're gonna create it here. Okay, gonna give it a name. The tier is gonna be hot. The account is gonna be blob storage. The default action allowed resource group today, new resource group. Okay, now we're going to create the container. Okay, now we create the container. We're following the same pattern, the same steps as before. So now we create the container. A blob container. Okay. Now we're gonna say same thing, nothing new. Now we're gonna say exactly the same thing, divide it here. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful here. Put exactly the same indentation. Okay, beautiful. After that, we have to upload the file, right? So upload a blob to the container. Or actually, first, we have to move to where the container is. Guys, my recommendation, I hope you have your blob or your file in the desktop. Okay? Remember, we're doing this from the root command. Okay? Root command. So I'm gonna first, before I do anything, I'm gonna move to the desktop directory. So I'm gonna move to desktop directory. If you have the path, you don't have to do this. Okay? So I'm gonna say CD desktop, exactly the same that I did as I did in the CLI. Okay? So now I'm gonna upload the file. And then I'm gonna do this. Exactly the same thing, nothing new, nothing fancy. Okay, we're gonna upload Wajidos again. Same thing. Beautiful. Nothing new. All right, so I think I'm ready. I did everything that I needed to do. Exactly everything that I did in the CLI. Okay, everything that I did, all the steps that I followed, except deleting things. I'm just creating now, not deleting anything. So how do you save the information here? Well, it says here, it has a menu here. If you do Control O is write out. So we hit Control at the same time, and then file name to write, just hit enter. It's already saved, and then you do Control X to exit. So Control X, and then you exit. Okay?
Yeah.
So now I am in the root directory. Root directory. Remember that, hey, what happened here? Didn't save anything? I can't believe that.
Oh man.
What happened here? Didn't save anything? Is that the name that we gave it? Okay, one moment.
I think that the way to save a nano is colon WQ.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. I have it. Don't worry. I got it. Thank God I had done another one. So I can say CD nano. Oh, I know why. Because I have it in the desktop. Okay. Now, if I do this, there you go. So I was in a different directory. All right, not a problem. I can run it now. So this operation here is unnecessary. This one here, just in case you are in a different directory. I'm gonna leave it there, just in case. All right, so this file is an executable, but it doesn't have the permissions to become an executable. So if you want to know more about permissions, yeah, you have to study a little bit more Linux to know that. But the command to give permission for that is chmod, is to change the mode of that file. And then you give it a 777, which is not secure, but just for the sake of this activity, I'm going to show you. But first, I want to run this. I want to run this guy for you to see that it doesn't have permissions to execute. Okay. So if I just run it, to run it, you have to put / and the name of the file. Okay. Now, if I do this, permission denied. You see there, permission denied. So I need to give permission to that. How do I do that? chmod 777.
To who?
777, and then the name of the file. Today, executable
SH.
sh. Now it has permission, right? And now I can do this. And when I hit enter, it's gonna run the I hope it works. Let me try. Well, it's working. It's creating the resources for me. Okay. It's creating this. It's gonna ask me for the password now when it gets to the virtual machine. But it's creating the resources. Okay, let's see. It just takes some time. Is it working for you guys? Yes, no, maybe. My God.
I'm just following along still.
If you don't understand this completely, guys, don't feel discouraged.
I'm saving my money, not creating no more file.
I'm sorry?
Saving my money, not creating any more machines.
Oh, yes. What happened here? Why is this taking that long? It's coming after. Okay, let me see. I should have created the user, Active Directory user, Pedro Mendoza. Right here, Pedro Mendoza. I created Pedro Mendoza. It should have created a group. It created the DevOps group. It put Pedro Mendoza inside. Let me see. Dunieski Otano is the one that we put inside. That's perfect. Let me see if it created the version network. Let me see. Today, MDC network. Okay. Did you create the resource group? Today, news resource group. Perfect. What else was supposed to create? A storage account. Nope, it hasn't created that yet. I think, oh, it's asking me for the password now. Still working in the virtual machine. Okay, not a problem. I can confirm that. And it continues creating the virtual machine. Okay, it's created the virtual machine right now. Let me come here to the virtual machine. If I refresh here, so it created a virtual machine. You see, guys, but you don't have to type everything every time that you go to the CLI. You create a script and then you run it, and that's it. And it will run for you guys. It created the virtual machine already. It's right here. Okay. Inside the resource group. Okay. So now, right now, it's going to create the it's going to create the storage account. After that, okay, the overview here. If I come here to networking, it has the RDP as I intended to. Okay. What else do we have here? The tagging name server 1 as I intended. Okay. It created. This is the virtual machine already created. It's creating now the storage account. If I come here to the storage account, I see here the soon, very soon, I will see something here. Okay, let me just wait a little bit more. Okay, I have to wait a little bit more. So it should have created that already. It's gonna take a while. Just wait a little bit more. It shows here that it was created already. So it's already created here, you see? And then I click on that, it created the container. The container's here, and then it uploaded the file. The file is here. You see? It's exactly the same thing as I did here. If I come to here to the Storage Explorer, I'm gonna see everything that I saw in the console, in the portal. So if I come here, I see the container. The container has the blob right here. You see, guys, how you can automate things using a script?
Then you modify it as needed.
Yeah, that's right. So I can come back here and come here again and modify whatever I want. Okay, so this is the CLI, exactly the CLI in a script. Everything that you do the CLI, you can do it here. In a file, just put all the commands in one file and you save it. You save it. And when you need to run it, you run it and that's it. You don't have to be typing in the CLI all the time. So my question for you is, which one is faster?
Yes, indeed, the script.
Doing everything in the portal or just creating a CLI script and run it? Which one is easier?
Gosh, easy.
You see, that's the power of the CLI. All right. So don't forget that Nano is a text editor, like Visual Studio, like VS Code, like Notepad Plus. Those are text editor. The same thing here. Okay. But this is for Linux. And then you use it to write different things. So guys, I'm gonna upload this guy here in the on Slack. I'm gonna upload it, and also I'm gonna upload it in the Google Classroom for you guys to have access to this. We saw a lot of things today, right?
Yes.
Do you enjoy at least something on the
Much
class?
clearer now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I want to hear the ladies.
I'm gonna try to create my new own account. I think it would have been in the beginning of the class, or like when you were doing the resource group. That was good with me, but then I think because of my technical difficulties, I wasn't able to
Yeah.
participate as much as I wanted to. But I followed along, and so hopefully I'll watch the class again and do it on my own.
Yes, and I stream the class, so you guys can